Hello everyone, welcome to SHP Insight. My name is Andrew Butler and I'm the Dean of the School of Health Professions. Today's guest is Jennifer Christy, who's been a faculty member in our school since 2004. In 2018, she became the director of our clinical Doctorate of Physical Therapy program, and under her leadership, student enrollment, access to clinical sites, and our national rankings have all been on the rise. Jen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me today.
I know you're one of the lead investigators in UAB's Vestibular and Oculomotor Research Lab. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing.
So I'm interested in investigating screening tools, outcome measures, and interventions for children who have vestibular dysfunction. The vestibular system is this beautiful tiny little organ in each inner ear, and here's what it looks like on a bigger scale. It's very tiny. And what this organ does is it senses head movement. Its job is to provide a sense of balance and also a sense of symmetry and stability in your body. One thing that it does is it helps you to maintain an upright position when things change in your environment. It also helps to keep your eyes stable in your head when your head is moving. We know that many children with severe to profound sensory neural hearing loss do not have a functioning vestibular system. So many of them are born with either an under-functioning or with no vestibular system. And so this causes some major problems in their life. What I'm doing is I'm developing interventions to help these children.
So can you tell us a little bit about some of the research that you've accomplished? What are some of the things that are maybe in practice from some of your research?
So there are several outcome measures that were used in adults, but what we did was we validated them for children. And so some of these include the clinical dynamic visual acuity test. Another thing that we've done that is interesting is we've tested other populations of kids, children with cerebral palsy, children with cytomegalovirus, and also kids with concussion. And what we've looked at their vestibular function, and what we found is that their inner ears are functioning well, but because the connections within the brain may not be working properly, they aren't using their vestibular system very well. So we think that these interventions may also help other populations of children.
Well, that's great. I know that children are not just small adults, and so making those outcome measures that are valid and reliable for children is really important. You mentioned concussion. Football season is right around the corner, and concussions are always a concern for our student athletes and all sorts of people. Can you tell me a little bit more about that work?
What we did in our group was we wanted to look at vestibular function in these kids and adults with concussion or athletes with concussion. And what we did was we tested lots of athletes to include some of our UAB football players and soccer players. And what we found was that in most cases, their inner ears are functioning just fine. However, again, it's those connections within the brain, those connections from the inner ears to the brain structures, and we don't know what those are yet, that are causing them to have this dizziness, to have this poor balance. And also, one interesting thing we found was that they have a hard time knowing exactly where their body is in space. So one of the outcome measures that we've developed is called a subjective visual vertical using a bucket. And we ask the athlete to tell us when they think a line is straight up and down in the absence of other visual cues. And one time they may set it here, one time they may set it over here, so it's not ever set, completely vertical. So that's kind of one of the outcome measures that we found that is consistent with a lot of athletes with concussion, and also we found the same thing in kids with cerebral palsy, which we thought was very interesting, and in individuals with multiple sclerosis.
Jen, that's really interesting. Can any of these outcome measures be done in the field?
Absolutely. So one of my big goals is to develop these outcome measures that clinicians can use that don't require super expensive equipment. The bucket test was actually developed, it was modified by my amazing MD PhD student Graham Cochran, who connected it to an app where the person doing the test would just click the button when they thought the line was straight up and down. So it's an inexpensive app that clinicians can use with the bucket test.
you're very involved in research, but one of the major things you do here, you are the director of our clinical doctoral of physical therapy program. Other than rankings, what separates our DPT program from others?
Well, our DPT program is the best in the nation, in my opinion. But I think one thing that students will recognize when they come here for either for an interview or for a visit or as a student is that once you enter this program, you become part of the UAB DPT family. And our faculty, as brilliant as they are and amazing as they are, our goal is to see every single student become the best version of themselves and to be leaders. Our students and faculty, we become a family and we help each other to succeed.
I know we have a variety of residencies that we offer. Can you tell me a little bit about those and what residencies mean for physical therapy?
Yeah, so after a student graduates from a DPT program and they get their license, they may decide that they want to specialize. So for example, they love working in neurologic physical therapy, and so they want to go on and become a neuroclinical specialist. So one step toward doing that would be to complete a residency program. So it's a one-year program. And here at UAB, we have a neurologic residency and an orthopedic residency, which has just been developed.
Again, just one of those special things that we do in our physical therapy department, our DPT program, that really separates us from the best. One of the things I know getting into physical therapy school is very, very challenging. Usually only half of those people that apply get in. What advice would you have for someone who's interested in applying to our DPT program?
One thing that we're starting this year is we are doing video assessments as the interview process. And so one piece of advice that I would give is to be yourself. Students who apply to the physical therapy program want to help people. They are passionate about the human body and they want to, work in physical therapy. We know this. This is true for everyone. But how will you, as an applicant, contribute something unique to the program?
Yeah, well, thanks, because I know it's more than just grades and grade point average, and oftentimes we look for people who are well-rounded, as you said, people that are involved in their community and in service learning. I know you are very interested in the community and giving back. It's part of our culture here at UAB. Can you tell me some of the things that you're passionate about in the community?
So the first thing that comes to mind, I love working with children at Muscular Dystrophy Association camp. And I've done this since I graduated from physical therapy school. And so this is a camp where, people go and volunteer and you get to help take care of the kids. I serve as the camp physical therapist. Some years I've also served as the DJ, playing all the music, and it's just a great event. Also, recently I've joined the board of Workshops Empowerment, which is a local organization that empowers individuals to find employment when they have employment barriers.
Jen, it's really been my pleasure having you here today. You're a fantastic faculty member, and I really enjoyed the time we spent today.
All right, I did too. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks. Turning to SHP News now. Rob Model, a professor in our Department of Physical Therapy, is the top-rated walking expert in the world based on scientific data covering the past 10 years. He ranks #1 out of more than 95,000 published authors worldwide. Shannon Hauser, a professor in our Department of Health Services Administration, has won the AHIMA Triumph Mentor Award. This national award recognizes her long record of transforming lives in the health information management profession. And congratulations to our Physician Assistant Studies program. They've been awarded a $1.4 million grant from the Health Resource and Service Administration, better known as HRSA, to grow underrepresented minorities in medicine, expand care in rural health areas, and support student work in mental health and opioid addiction. To see more news about our school and our people, please visit go.uab.edu/SHP News. My thanks to Jen Christy for joining me today, and my thanks to you for watching. Go Blazers!